What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to our year-end video. Today we're going to do something a little bit different. 2021 is predicted to have the highest percentage of Americans looking to relocate, more than any other year in the last few decades. There's a lot of reasons for this too. The economy has been wrecked by a pandemic. People are working from home or not working at all. We've had riots, protests. Joe Exotic's zoo is now owned by Carol Baskin, his nemesis. 2020 has been a nightmare for a lot of people, and they want change. Especially Joe Exotic. He's still in prison and he's hoping to get a pardon at the last minute from the president. So if you're one of the people looking for change and your name's not Joe Exotic, where are you gonna go? I get no less than 10 emails a week from people asking for advice on where they should look. And that's what I'm going to do today. I'm going to list what places are and probably will remain great places to relocate to in 2021. This is going to be my opinion based on things I've learned researching this year's videos. We'll go over some of the stats and tell you why I think these are great places to relocate to. So in no particular order, here you go. Number 10. Most of Wisconsin. Now I say most of Wisconsin because this is a state with very little crime, great families, great places to be. It's just Milwaukee and, some of the other cities have a little bit of crime. There's certain areas in Milwaukee you should probably avoid, but the rest of the state is great. So much so that it is one of the states with the least amount of outward migration by people born and raised here. There's some weird stats about how when people get out of high school and they go to a university in Wisconsin, they choose a state school more than any other state per capita. And when they graduate, they usually find jobs in the state. People from Wisconsin know this is a great state, they love this state, and they don't want to leave. Wisconsin is great for families that are looking to relocate and start a new life that can handle some cold weather. It gets cold here. But you have great cities like Eau Claire, Green Bay, Appleton, Madison, and like I said, the Milwaukee suburbs in most cases are really, really nice. You just know to avoid some of the areas. Land is relatively cheap, schools are decent for the most part, and they don't have a crazy expensive cost of living. Number 9. New England, excluding Connecticut. Other than cold and Connecticut, it's kind of hard to find a lot of bad things about New England. The New England states are amazing. They get cold and they can get expensive, but everything else about these states are great. Rhode Island, Vermont, New Hampshire, Maine, Massachusetts, pick one and move there. If you're the outdoor types, look at Maine, Vermont, New Hampshire. If you're looking to live in a city, Boston is a great city. It is very, very expensive, but it's a great city. There's a lot to do in New England, and I think in a lot of cases, it's overlooked, especially by people on the West Coast. It's not even on their radar most of the time, and that's a shame. New England has a lot to offer, great places to live. Their rural communities are outstanding. Connecticut, like I said, it has some problems. It has some crime, more than any other state in New England, but oddly enough, Connecticut has some of the richest neighborhoods in the country. There just seems to be no middle-class neighborhoods. It's either really nasty, poor ones or extremely wealthy ones. It's weird. Number 8, Overland Park, Kansas. So, Kansas City doesn't have the best reputation, and Overland Park is a suburb of Kansas City in Kansas. And the state of Kansas is known as being one of the most boring states in the union. But here's the thing, some of Kansas City's suburbs are outstanding. Overland Park, statistically, is one of the best cities in the country right now. Great for family, great schools, low poverty, next to no crime. They have jobs. Cost of living is decent. Niche.com actually ranks Overland Park as the best city to buy a house in America. They're the absolute best right now. And they don't have terrible weather. It does get cold, but the summers are nice, and the spring is amazing. Number 7, Bend, Oregon. Bend, Oregon is a great place for people that are younger, I would say. There's a lot to do here. It's an amazing city for people that like beer and the outdoors. Bend is slowly getting filled up with people that have outgrown Portland. The people that thought Portland was kind of cool in their 20s. They start getting around 30. They're all, I don't want to deal with this nonsense anymore. So they leave and they head to Bend, Oregon. Bend, Oregon has a lot of things that are appealing. One, the cost of living is pretty decent. Housing isn't crazy expensive. Schools are great. It's one of the healthiest cities in the country right now. Crime and safety is decent. They've got jobs, but the great outdoors and beer are what's bringing people in to Bend, Oregon. You have Mount Bachelor just west of the city, which is nothing but great skiing. And then you have the Deschutes River that flows right through town. This, you could float on it, boat on it, fish on it. It's big for fly fishing. Maybe not as much around Bend, but up and down the river, you could do some serious fly fishing. There's a great channel called Herman's Outdoors, which is a friend of mine. He does a lot of videos on the Deschutes River. You should check those out. I'll leave a link below. On top of all that, Bend, Oregon has the last remaining blockbuster video. Yeah, they really do. Number 6, Charleston, South Carolina. Charleston is a great city, especially if you're a history buff. They've got tons of colonial history and Civil War history that you could spend half your life learning about. That's how much they have here. It's crazy. And it's a beautiful city. Like all cities, they have some rough spots that you probably should avoid, so stop typing. We all know that. Charleston is a coastal city with tons of history and a lot of tourism dollars coming in. They have jobs, they got some poverty, not crazy poverty, but it's there. Their schools are decent and houses are affordable in most cases. You can get a decent house for you and your family, 2, 3 bedrooms, 2 bath, something like that, for in the neighborhood of $220,000. That's ready to move in, that's decent. I mean, sure, they go up, way up. This is a coastal city after all, but you can get nice livable homes, let's just say under $250,000. That's all in the suburbs. The city itself does get expensive, but it's still such a nice city. Charleston is one of my favorite cities just to walk around and look at. The architecture of this place is some of the best in the country. This place and Savannah. I really like Savannah, Georgia's architecture. These are just 2 cities that you can just walk around and look at all the time. Statistically, Charleston is a nice place to live. They've got plenty of things to do. Cost of living isn't crazy. Crime isn't crazy. Unemployment's decent. Housing is decent. And the schools are decent. Now, they're not knocking it out of the park on any of the stats, except for maybe amenities. They have plenty of things to do. This is a coastal tourist town. A lot of the dollars flowing in to Charleston are tourism dollars. So if you work in the hospitality industry, hotels or something like that, this is a good place to take a look at. Number 5, Charleston, West Virginia. That's right, 2 Charlestons in a row. Some of you just spit out your drink because you still think West Virginia is filled with hillbillies and out-of-work pill fiends. Well, the truth is they still have their backwoods folks, and the pill thing is so 2017. West Virginia, and Charleston for that matter, turned the corner on the pill thing a few years back. They're doing a lot better. They still have a problem, but it's so much better. They were in bad shape with that and poverty because of the coal industry fading away. For a lot of years, West Virginia is someplace people want to avoid. These days, Charleston, at least, not so much. Charleston is a city with decent public schools, decent housing. It's a good place for families. The commute is non-existent. Their cost of living is very low. They have outdoor activities everywhere. Their crime and their safety is middle of the road, but it's definitely not considered really bad. Now, here's the best part about it. It's the cost of living and cheap housing. Because of the lack of jobs that they've had over the years, housing and cost of living is really low in all of West Virginia, and especially Charleston. If you work from home, you're a remote worker, Charleston is the perfect city for you. They have decent internet, and, if you're not paying a lot for a house or rent or whatever, this is a good way to save some money. Move to Charleston, you'll probably fall in love with the place and stay there forever. Now, don't get me wrong, they do have some problems, but nothing near what they've had in the past. They're doing a lot better. So stop typing. Number 4, Lake of the Ozarks, Missouri. If you made a triangle with the points being St. Louis, Kansas City, and Springfield, Missouri, right in the center is Lake of the Ozarks. This is an amazing place to live. Number 1, the lake is huge and it goes on forever. It almost looks like a river from the satellite because it's just kind of long and whips around. It's really neat, as you can see right here. Now, what's really cool about this place? The cost of living is dirt cheap all around this area. They have a ton of towns dotted all around the lake, like Osage Beach, Lakeside, Lake Ozark, one called Hurricane Deck, Sunrise Beach, Village of Four Seasons. They've got all these little places you could live. Some of them are communities or whatever, but this is the best part about living here. You could get property, just, handful of yards off the lake for under $50,000. Nice, decent places. You got to put your own house there, maybe a tiny home, or buy a home that's already built there. You could find land here for under $50,000, which is great. You could find decent homes all over the place for around $200,000, and they're just dotted around the lake. Now, if you want beachfront property, that's still pretty cheap considering you're looking at, in most cases, somewhere around $400,000. For right on the water, you got a private dock. I love this place. I'm actually going to go out there probably next summer because, 2021 might still be a nightmare. 2022, I'm definitely going to go out and visit Lake of the Ozarks. If this is a place you're interested in doing, there's a great real estate agent that I've talked to a few times. I'll leave her information down below. Number 3, San Diego. So, San Diego's on the list, but keep one thing in mind. You gotta have some money to live here comfortably. It is one of the more expensive cities in the country, but it's also one of the most desirable cities in the country. San Diego is considered to have the best weather in the United States. And I agree with that one. Every time I've gone down there, it's maybe overcast, but most days it's sunny. Anyone in the Navy knows that you want to end up in San Diego at some point. They've got nice military bases all around there, but the city itself is beautiful. Stat-wise, like I said, cost of living is through the roof, but everything else is decent. Average schools, average employment, average crime, but plenty of things to do. That's their big strong point. A+ in amenities. You'll never get bored in San Diego. Number 2, Idaho. It's no secret Idaho has become a very popular move-to state. People have been migrating to Idaho for the last decade or so, in big numbers, mostly Californians, which irritates the hell out of most Idaho natives. But you know what? They got a good thing going on there, and that's going to draw people in, just like California drew people in for decades and decades. Now California is not as desirable, and they're all heading other places, and Idaho is one of the most popular. But it's not just Californians. People are moving there from Colorado, Utah, Oregon, and Washington. They have great cities with really low crime in most cases. You know, don't point out that some little place in Twin Falls had a series of shootings, okay? That happens. But for the most part, the entire state is pretty low in the crime side. They have amazing outdoors. If you like to hunt, fish, camp, boat, this is the place for you. Actually, another big one that's really popular here, and I know a lot of people that do it, they go camping on horseback. That's pretty interesting, kind of like the old West days. Idaho is a great place to live, and that's why a lot of people are heading there. And yeah, they also have a decent cost of living, and housing prices are always pretty good in Idaho. Not sure how much longer that's going to go on because, I mean, as people move in, prices will go up, and that's kind of what's bothering the locals. It happened here in Oregon. Oregon used to be a pretty sleepy little place, and then somewhere around the 80s, people decided they needed to move here, and prices went up, and now people are leaving. And before we get to number 1, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe if you already haven't, become a member of our community. All right, on to number 1. And number 1. Rural Pennsylvania, and most of the Dallas metro area. That's right, you get 2 on this one. I couldn't decide which one I liked better, so I'm putting them both down here. Rural Pennsylvania is great for a lot of different reasons. 1, outdoor activities. If you like to fish, camp, hunt, all that good stuff, rural Pennsylvania is your place. Decent people, good land that's fairly inexpensive. They got water everywhere. Creeks, rivers, streams, lakes, it's all in Pennsylvania. If you are an outdoor person, move to rural Pennsylvania. Just be prepared. Their winters get pretty harsh. Some of the nicest people in the world live in Pennsylvania. They're good. That Pennsylvania Dutch kind of resonates through the entire state. It's weird. On to Dallas. The Dallas metro area, even though it does have its problems, again, they have crime, yes, they have some poverty, but in general, the Dallas metro area is one of the best major cities we have going right now in the country. It's one of the only major cities that's still gaining tons of people every single month, every single week. And I'm sure this is going to go on through 2021. They have jobs, a decent cost of living for being a major city. If you compare it to places like New York, San Francisco, Los Angeles, they're doing really good. If you compare it to Jackson, Mississippi, they're pricey. You know, depends on how you look at it. I usually don't say good things about politicians, but for years, they've made some good moves, which has kind of positioned Texas as a great place to live. And Dallas is one of the best places in Texas to live. But if you're looking for a job in 2021 and you don't have one right now, I would say, honestly, the Dallas metro area is one of the best places to start your search for a new job and a new life. All right, that is our video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope you got some information out of it. You know, take my videos in. If you are in a situation where you're looking for someplace, this is just giving you ideas of what to look at and where to look. I mean, do your own research. Every single one of us is an individual and we have our own needs and our own wants. So I'm here to just kind of give you an idea, give you a little entertainment, and then you go a little deeper if something I say kind of sparks some interest in you. All right, let's all hope we have a better 2021 than we did in 2020. Everyone be safe, be nice to each other.